Good afternoon, Mrs. Hirsch.
Good afternoon. You can call me Jenny.
Okay, Jenny, I'm Dr. Hirsch, but feel free to call me Forrest or Mr. Hirsch.
Nice to meet you, Forrest.
You as well. What brings you into the clinic today, Jenny?
Well, my husband thinks that I drink too much, and he's threatening to leave me with the kids, and so I'm just coming in as the last resort.
Okay, so you're coming to me to see if I can give you an answer about your drinking to tell your husband. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Jenny, what I want to tell you is that you have to be the one to decide whether you have a problem or not, because in the end, you'll be the one with the power to overcome an addiction if there's one present.
Okay.
Can you describe a normal day to me?
Well, during the week I wake up anywhere from 6 to 7:30, depending on what time I have to be at work. I work until around 4:30, 5 o'clock, run any errands that I may have to run, and then come home and have supper with my family.
Okay, well, what does your husband do?
He's a stay-at-home dad.
Okay, he doesn't run the errands during the day?
Well, sometimes he does, but he doesn't really like having to go to the drive-up window and get my beers and my soda for the night.
Okay. All right. Well, could you describe an usual weekend for you?
Usually I go out with my friends to the bar, get some drinks, have some supper. Usually pizza corner is a good weekend supper. I wake up between 10 o'clock and noon on Saturday and usually lounge around all day, kind of recovering. I might go down to the lake or the pontoon if it's nice out. Usually I meet friends down at the pub on Saturday night. Sunday, if we go to church, there's that too. Not always. Then I go into work for a few hours. I'm a teacher, so I get ready for the week and come home, go to bed.
Okay, so I can see how your weekends usually revolve around drinking establishments. Does your husband normally go with you?
Sometimes, usually one of the 2 nights.
Okay, so what do you like about your weekend routine focused around drinking?
I just like the way I just get relaxed and it's just a fun time.
Okay, what do you mean by relaxed?
Well, I'm a teacher and sometimes the kids they stress me out and it kind of takes me off the edge that I'm on. So instead of lashing out at my family, I'd much rather be relaxed and not.
So instead of expressing your emotions towards your family, you decide to deal with it using alcohol.
Yeah, and I don't find it odd at all. I don't know what my husband's so concerned about.
Okay. Let me, in regards to a night of drinking, have you ever had any positive outcomes come from a night of drinking?
Well, I met my husband at some dive bar, and a lot of my friends are there. It just makes me feel really at ease, and I don't feel judged because nobody really judges you in a bar on how you look or your size or anything.
Okay, so what do you not like about drinking?
Nothing really.
Okay. I can see that the way your family members perceive you is important to you, and it affects your emotional well-being, much like how your students affect you. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a negative consequence that's affected you after a night of drinking?
Let's see. Well, I got a couple minor possessions when I was younger. Kind of rubbed that off. I was in an accident a couple years ago where I got a DUI, and sometimes I get hungover in the morning, so I'm a little bit foggy at work, but other than that, there's not too much. I mean, nobody was hurt in the accident, so it's not a big deal.
And family is very important to you, so your safety, because you're the breadwinner, is essentially important to them. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you have any children?
Yeah, I have 3 boys. Walker, he's 12. Texas, he's 11. And Ranger, he's 6.
Those are very unique and interesting names. Do you feel your drinking has ever affected their relationship with you?
I suppose. I don't always make it to all of Walker and Texas's games, trying to do work, and I just get nervous being in that social setting when I'm not at ease.
You need to be accepted by your peers, and when you drink, you feel as if you're able to be more acceptable or approachable to your peers.
Yep.
Do you think if it came down to it, would you be able to give up your drinking for your family?
I don't think I could give it up, but I think I could cut back.
Cut back?
Well, yeah, instead of drinking like 6 beers, I'd have 3 or 4.
Okay, Jenny, when you use the phrase cutting back, that may indicate that there is a substance abuse problem actually present because you're trying to decrease and you think that if you were to cut back on something that there might not be a problem, but you're actually identifying that there is a problem. There are many screening tools to identify substance abuse problems, and I would like you to try the alcohol use disorders identification test, the audit test, as it is geared towards people like you and trying to assess whether there is a substance abuse problem or not. Would that be okay with you?
I guess.
Okay, well, 10 minutes later. Jenny, we got your scores back, and you got a 25 out of 40. Anything greater than an 8 states that there is a high risk of developing a substance abuse problem or an alcohol-related abuse. What does this assessment mean to you?
I guess I've never had my drinking put into paper, pencil kind of numbers thing, and the effect that it might have on my family. I thought I was just a danger to myself, but others as well.
Jenny, I appreciate your honesty, and what I want you to know is that it's not uncommon to feel this way. You have identified key features of the substance abuse problem by stating you'd like to cut back, or you're annoyed by what your husband thinks and you feel guilty about missing your children's activities, and also you've had an eye-opener experience with the motor vehicle accident with the DUI. Now that you've made these, you've identified these, it's just taking the next step as to getting there and trying to make a change. Is that how you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you seem more open to this, I'd like to discuss your alcohol usage. Can you gauge your confidence level for me on a scale of 0 being I'm not confident at all, and 10 being, yep, I can quit alcohol tomorrow and I will not use it anymore. How confident do you feel about quitting?
Probably about a 5.
A 5, okay. Now that being said, using the same scale, on a 0 to 10 scale, what is your importance of quitting?
I'd say around a 10.
A 10, so it's pretty important to you. That's great. Now, how do you think you get your confidence level higher?
I've heard of groups like AA, but that's just for men, and
That's a good identification of a support group. And AA is not only for men, and many people do think this, but there's also other groups out there. There's Women for Sobriety, there's Moderation Management, and there's even self-help guides. Do any of these sound as if they'd be suited for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I will need some support as I try to go through this.
Yeah, Jenny, you've identified a key part of the addiction management process and the need for a support system. There are 4 major dimensions revolving around alcohol usage and support systems, and they are your health, your home, your purpose, and your community. Health support focuses on the self and abstaining from any alcohol usage. Then you've got the home, which focuses on a stable environment. You've got the purpose, which means you need to do things such as meaningful activities, going to your children's games, being there for your husband, and things like that. And then community focuses on your coworkers and your other friends and your family who are there helping you through this process. And since you've identified these, do you feel as if you are able to identify a person in one of these 4 categories here that would be able to help you?
Yeah, I think I'd have my family and maybe a couple of my coworkers.
Sure. Great. How do you think your confidence level is now after identifying these sources of support? Do you think you have a higher confidence, or is it the same?
I think it's a little bit higher, maybe a 7 or an 8.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. I'd like to set up an action plan for you, Jane, to keep you accountable and to make sure you stay on track with what you're trying to accomplish. Does this sound okay with you?
Absolutely.
That's great, Jenny. With the support system you've identified and you're actively expressing interest in making a change, I have faith in you, and I think you can accomplish great things.
Thank you.